Shalom. I am Rabbi Miriam Spitzer from Temple Israel in Scranton. This sermon is called Money, 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 and it was given for Parashat Vayakhel, Shabbat Shekalim 5782. It was Yom Kippur, and the prosecuting angel stood before the holy throne. Look at the people of Israel in their fancy clothes and their empty bellies, the prosecuting angel scoffed. They say they are praying, Lord, but for what do they pray? What kinds of prayer do they offer to you today? I propose a test. Let us take the words of all the people in synagogues today and put them through the grinder and see what comes out. And the sovereign of sovereigns thundered, "Make it so!" So the prayers of the Jewish people were gathered in big burlap sacks, brought from all corners of the globe, and every sack was emptied into the big prayer distilling machine. The grinder turned, and all the heavenly court held its breath. Sure enough, one word came out: money, money, money. See what the people of Israel are thinking about on the holiest of days, sneered the prosecuting angel. Not spirituality, not holiness, not you, just money. The defending angel rose and spoke. I request that the machine be asked for more details. Once again, the bags were filled with the prayers of the people of Israel. Once again, the bags were emptied into the machine that distills prayers down to the basics. And once again, the entire court of heaven held its breath to see what the people of Israel were really praying for on Yom Kippur. The grinder turned, and this time, instead of just one word, phrases emerged from the machine. Money for schools, money for synagogues, money for the poor, money for the elderly, the sick, the needy. The defending angel smiled and said, I rest my case. Vayakhel, from the word kahal, community or gathering. Vayakhel, and Moshe gathered the people of Israel and told him that he was taking a collection. Anyone who wanted to, anyone who felt like it, should bring gifts to the Mishkan: gold, silver, brass. The Mishkan was being built and they needed materials: cloths and dyes, woods and oils, animal skins and spices. Anyone who so desired could contribute. And the people did. They brought bracelets and earrings and rings, bronze and silver and gold. They brought precious stones and precious herbs. They brought wood and linen and skins. They brought and they brought and they just kept bringing. The artists who were building the Mishkan finally went to Moshe and said, the people are bringing too much. We have more than enough for building the Mishkan that the Lord has asked us to build. And Moshe told the people to stop bringing contributions for the building of the Mishkan. And this was the last time in recorded history that a fundraiser told people to stop giving. What a contrast this passage from Vayakhel is with the passage that we read from the second Sefer Torah yesterday morning. Everyone who has entered in the records from age 20 years and up shall give the Lord's offering. The rich shall not pay more, and the poor shall not pay less than half a shekel when giving the Lord's offering. The Shabbat before the Rosh Chodesh of the month in which we celebrate Purim is known as Shabbat Shekalim. Shekalim, plural, or shekel, singular, is the unit of money that was used throughout biblical times in the land of Israel. Indeed, the modern Israeli unit of money is also called the shekel. On the Shabbat preceding Rosh Chodesh Adar Sheni, the second Adar, or the only Adar if it's not a leap year, we take out a second Torah and read the passage taken from the beginning of last week's parasha, Ki Tisa, about the collection of the half shekel head tax. It was a regressive tax. Rich or poor, young or old, employed or unemployed, every male above the age of 20 was to give a half shekel to the treasury. Shabbat Shekalim does not always fall on Parashat Vayakhel, so we do not always notice the sharp difference in these two passages. But this year we cannot help but ask, what is going on here? In the days of the temple, the half-shekel tax was collected in Adar to prepare for the expense of buying the huge numbers of animals needed to offer during the upcoming holiday of Pesach. That is why Shabbat Shekalim was put 6 weeks before Pesach. In addition, the half-shekel tax doubled as a census, both in the Torah and in later times. Since everyone had to pay, all they had to do was count the half-shekel coins and they would have a population number. But there is more to it than that. In life, there are opportunities for different kinds of giving. Sometimes we give because the Spirit moves us, because we want to. And there are times in our lives when we can afford to give more than what we could afford at other times in our lives. When those times come, we should give money for synagogues, money for schools, money for the hungry, money for the elderly, the sick, the needy. And there are times in our lives when we do not feel like giving, and times in our lives that we have less to give. But even during those times, we must push ourselves and give something, even if only a half shekel. We cannot give nothing. Furthermore, institutions have different needs at different times. When an institution is first being built, it needs outpourings of support and generosity. It needs people to donate of their wealth and finery to make the institution work. And that is the time that it's most exciting to give. But afterwards, when the institution already exists and it's not so exciting to give, it still needs ongoing support. Money for the offerings in the temple, money for heat, money for books and papers and supplies, money to keep the phones on. And that kind of giving, the kind that is less exciting but no less necessary, that is the responsibility of everyone in the community. We all have to donate that half shekel for maintenance. This is reinforced by our Haftarah for Shabbat Shekalim, which talks about a situation when money was being raised for repairs and maintenance, but was not being used for repairs and maintenance. They had to come up with a new system, and they did. Shabbat Shekalim alerts us that Purim is coming. One of the 4 mitzvot of Purim is Matanot le'Evyonim, gifts to the poor, ensuring that everyone can have a Purim Suda, that everyone can afford the special Purim meal that is another of the Purim mitzvot. Here at Temple Israel, we are making it possible to fulfill the mitzvah of Matanot le'Evyonim by also fulfilling the mitzvah of Mishloach Manot, the mitzvah of giving Purim goodies to our friends and neighbors. Sign up through the mitzvah committee to send Mishloach Manot to any congregational member that you like. The money that's raised is going to the Scranton May S. Gelb Jewish Family Services Food Pantry for Matanot le'Evyonim. The deadline is Monday, and by doing that, we're doing 2 of the Purim mitzvot. Money is important. What we do with our money is important. Shekalim and Vayakhel provide us with 2 different and both essential models for making choices about what to do with our money. Choices that resonate for us strongly right now as we prepare for our 100th anniversary. Just as Moshe and Bezalel called on the community to contribute their strengths, their talents, their precious items, so too we are appreciative of the strengths, talents, and special gifts of our congregants, the current congregants, and those in the past from whom we are still benefiting. We need, want, and treasure what every single person brings. We also appreciate and need the regular, steady donations and gifts, the half shekels, as it were, that go to making sure that we can keep doing what we are doing, keeping the lights and the heat on, making sure our services flow, keeping the live stream going, making repairs as needed, sometimes very expensive repairs. Money, money, money. Money for schools, money for shuls, money for the poor, money for the elderly, the sick, the needy. Amen.